Hi, I'm Eric Brunchen and this is Racer from Footbridge Farm in beautiful Yakima, Washington. Today we're going to show you how to move K-pod lines using your horse. K-pod lines are a great way to irrigate pasture, but they have one big disadvantage, which is you need a quad or a 4x4 to move the line. But if you have a K-pod line, it's likely you also have livestock, which means you may have a horse like Racer, so you don't actually need a quad, and I'm going to show you how to do it. It takes a little bit of extra effort, but in the end you develop a great relationship with your horse. You get to ride with your horse every day, sometimes twice a day, and the pods move actually much better. There's less twisting, there's less turning over, there's really no breakage. It's a great way to move K-lines, so let's get to work. Alright, we're here at the end of the K-line, and the first thing I want to show you is just this old car rim that I chained to the K-line. If you were using a quad, you'd just hook up right to the shackle, but since we're trying to minimize getting on and off the horse, we chained a car rim to the K-line, and we're actually going to rope it from the back of the horse. So when you move K-pods with a horse, you do things a little bit differently. The manufacturer, and there are plenty of YouTube videos on how to do this with a quad, but the manufacturer recommends that you keep the K-pods running while you move them, and that's to keep some water weight in the lines, keep the line from stretching. But the disadvantage of that is that you get soaking wet, and you're always running around trying not to get hit by the sprinklers, so that obviously isn't going to work with a horse. What we have to do here is turn the water off, waste the water from the pump because you don't want the pump pushing against the closed valve, and then drain the water out of the K-line so it's easier on your horse. And this is just fine with the K-pods even on the hottest day because your horse is moving so much slower than a quad. And we do that with this stop and double waste valve system that I made. It's just an old tire with 3 valves, and I keep a valve key here so I can actually do this all from the horse, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this valve actually turns off the water to the K-line. This valve will waste that pump water because you wouldn't want your pump to run against the closed valve. That'll burn it up real quick. And then this valve here will waste the water from the K-lines, and that will let the water drain. It'll make it a lot easier on your horse when he's pulling. Now you don't have to do this. For the first year we were moving with the horse, you can always just come over to your riser, get off your horse, unhook, and then waste from the pump there. But that's a lot of getting on and off the horse, which we try and avoid. So I'm gonna put it all together and show you how to do it now. Right from the horse, we just take our key, turn off the pump valve, now the K-pods have stopped sprinkling so we can work on them with the horse. Now we have to waste it.
Well, is the cow gonna run me over?
Nope, the cow's not good. There we go. Now we got pressure released off the pump. And now lastly, we got to take the water out of the K-pod line because it's too heavy for the horse to pull right now. That's with that 3rd valve. So now we're ready to go rope a K-line. Alright, we're going to rope this wheel here and get a move on. So, like I said, it's a lot easier than roping a steer. Snug it up tight, dally it, and off you go. So we have to drain the K line so it's easier for the horse. But you don't have to wait for it to empty. As you pull the line, it's going to empty out real quick. You don't even have to be at the bottom of a hill. Just moving the line will squeeze all that water out of there and make it easier on your horse. This is kind of a tricky one. You have to have a calm horse for this. You might want to get off, but Racer here is calm enough that I can turn the wheel on its side, lean way over, push this thing through, and pop the rope right off our wheel. So we're almost done, but this last K-pod here is out of line a little bit with the other pods. And I want to show you a quick and easy way to get 1 or 2 pods in line. And if you were moving it with the quad, you'd have to jump off and pull it by hand, and the sprinkler would be going and you get soaking wet. But we already moved it with the horse, so the line is empty now. It's real light, but we still don't have to get off. I just keep with me on my saddle just a regular tie-down strap, and I just hook it right onto the edge of the pod. And you wouldn't want to move the whole line hooked like this, but for 1 or 2 pods you can move them, and you can move them perpendicular to the line. So Racer and I will do that for you now. We're just going to pull it this way and line it up with the other pod. Alright, now the last thing we have to do is reverse the steps to get water going through the pods. So first of all, we'll close the waste from the pod line. Then we'll close the waste from the pump. And then we'll open from the pump to the pod line. And you might need to open it kind of slowly so your pump doesn't lose prime. But it generally will go quick enough that you don't get sprinkled by the nearest pod. I hope you enjoyed this video from Footbridge Farm in Yakima, Washington on how to move a K-pod line with your horse. There, we're back in the field with one little addition, just a bonus optional piece of equipment that works really well. It's just a stout piece of plywood, about 1.5 feet wide, a couple of 2x4s, cut at a bevel on the front. We just chain it right to the K-pod line. And we're gonna get on the horse now and show you how it works.